Hello everyone, welcome back to Alkaline Hydroxide 784, and this is the Project University series. This will be the third advice video, and in this video I will tell you more on how to apply overseas, to your university status. And yeah, I'll also be having a related blog video on my own experiences, so if you want to watch that you can do so too. So now I'm going to explain for US and UK because I didn't apply to any other places apart from I only applied to unis here in the US and in the UK. So I will explain for the US and the UK separately because they tend to be the most popular places to which people apply to. If there are other places that you want me to cover, I will try to do my research and do. You can ask me in the comments below and I can try to do some research and maybe bring you an explanation. This one is from my own experience, what I've done, so I already know the information in the sense. Okay, so first let me talk about the US, which is a very popular destination for at least the high scorers and people who just like to study somewhere else in a sense. In the US, for the US, you would need to have use something like the common application, or there are other kinds of applications too, but the usual one that we use is the common app. So for the common app, you would be able to put most of the IVs and most of your universities are covered by the common application, and you can use that to apply to all the schools in the same time. But there are some exceptions like the UC universities, the UC colleges who have their own application portal, and you have to do that separately. So along with the common app, you will also be introduced to Naviance, which is a way for your school to actually put in stuff like your recommendation letters, your grades, your other stuff that the school needs to send. So this is an easy way for them to send it to the universities in the sense. So what you're supposed to do is to link your common app and your Naviance accounts. If you want more details on that, I can explain it in another video. But generally you will get a briefing by your school in the sense, and you have to link your common app and Naviance accounts, and after that you need to put your list of universities that you're applying to in your Naviance and also start the applications in the common app in a sense. So of course, even before you tackle the universities, your common app will have this huge list of questions that you need to answer, which are like your personal details, your details about your father, your mother, your siblings, your whoever else, and that is very annoying. It is quite annoying, to be honest. And I know, to be honest, I found UCAS a lot easier to use than common app, so I'll tell you more about that later. So for the common app, you need to put in a lot of information, so do get all your documents and everything ready, also your financial information, your educational information, your parents' educational information, your brother or your sister's educational information. You need all of that. And after doing that, you would need to do the essays, which I will talk about later. Okay, so apart from this information, another thing that they may ask you is your SAT scores or your ACT scores. And for the US, you definitely need to do either the SAT or the ACT unless you're applying to a school that doesn't require either of them. And I recommend doing the SAT with essay or the ACT with the writing section because a lot of unis not all of them require it, but there may be some who require it or some who recommend having the essay section. And if you're good at it, it may be a boon to your application as well. So for your SAT, the score that you're supposed to get, well, it depends on your own abilities as well as what scores the uni usually expect from you. So if you do already get above 1500, then I say I guess it's not really that, you don't really have to worry too much about your score, I guess. As long as it's about 1500, you can still apply to the Ivies and the top schools if you have a lot of, because the other parts of your application matter way more than the SAT scores do. So don't fret over your SAT scores if you get above 1500 already. But if you don't get above 1500 and you want to improve it, you can. Or if your school doesn't require that high of a score, then you don't have to do it again. As for the ACT, I haven't done the ACT, so I'm not sure how much. I don't really know what to say about it. But for SAT, you can apply it to do it via the College Board website, and that one also requires a lot of information inputting as usual, but it's a bit better than the Common App itself. So yeah, and you would need to select a test center, and I recommend applying early because sometimes if you're a bit late, there may not be any test centers available in Singapore, and because people have already filled up the seats there, and you may need to go to Johor Bahru or something. So just be aware of it. If you're fine with going to Johor Bahru, then okay, fine. Um, yeah. So I will talk more about my own experience with SAT in my blog video. But to prepare for the SAT, you can use either Khan Academy, or you can just download the papers from the College Board website. There are 8 free papers that you can try. I think they're quite good practices. You can space them out as per your own interest. You can do as many as you want for each try. So yeah, I will tell you more about that in my blog video. As for the ACT, I believe that getting above 35 is already pretty good. I'm not sure how the ACT works in grading. Um, but if you get 34, 35, you're already pretty good, I think. Yeah. So for the essay, um, okay, so yeah, the essay would be the Common App essay. So you first have the Common App essay, which they will give you 7 questions, then you choose one of them and then you write an essay about it. Many people have recommended it that you need to start early, so if you can, please do start early. If you are the kind of person who needs a lot of time to refine your draft, then do start early at all by all means. But of course, that also depends on how free you are, how much you care about your A levels and things like that. So have your own way of your own schedule for doing the essay, and it's always useful to have someone else read over the essay, but I don't recommend asking your parents. Ask someone else, like a teacher or one of those, someone who actually has experience with this thing beforehand, like someone who's gone through this process may have more, maybe a better person to ask than your parents for that matter. Unless your parents are teachers, then maybe you can ask them. But one free source that I can recommend is is what's the name? Education USA. Yes, Education USA has a branch in the Stanford American School, and they offer a free service. But I hope not too many people go and bombard her, because I think they're already quite busy caring for their own students. So yeah, just don't bombard them. But you may, if you're lucky, you can get some help from them, and it may actually be quite helpful. You can get some pointers on how to improve your essay, or how to what to omit from your essay and things like that. So in terms of the essay, I would like to put one point forward, and that you should be yourself. Don't just say things for the sake of saying things. Say stuff that you can actually go by, like you can actually say, okay, this is definitely me. So because I feel like honesty is a good thing, so please be honest. Of course, at the same time, you shouldn't be too yourself and then make your essay sound super drab. Do add a little bit of fluff in the sense to make it sound a bit more interesting, but at the same time, still have it somewhat honest in the sense. So yeah, you must have a balance between those two things. And apart from the common app essay, you will have individual essays for each university. And yeah, that can be quite time consuming and quite tiring to do. And towards the end, you may just like whatever, just write something and then be like, okay, this is it. I'm just gonna give this. Yeah, that depends on your own mentality or your mindset in the sense. But in general, they may ask you why you want to apply to the college, or they may ask you to find out more things about yourself, and you can just answer it from your own perspective, your own point of view. But don't say superficial stuff. Say stuff that actually will help them understand your application, I think. And if you want, you can if there's stuff that involves talking about the school, then you must definitely reference something from the school. Be it if you're interested in research, you can talk about a certain professor you want to work with, or if it's like a certain culture that you're interested to participate in, then you can talk about that. So you must give specific examples of things that you're interested to take part in, like competitions or some kind of cultural activity or anything. It will help your essay make more sense, be more relevant to the individual colleges. And yeah, don't really try not to copy paste your essay and then change the name, because you may accidentally have the wrong college name, and then you'll be screwed. Okay. uh but you can still just rewrite the thing as you remember it in your head. You don't actually copy paste. You can rewrite the same stuff, but don't copy paste. Yeah. Okay, so apart from these things that you will spend a lot of time writing, the other things that you need in your common app are the recommendation letters from your form teacher and maybe from two other teachers maximum. So a lot of the universities may recommend you to give two other recommendation letters, so please do try to get two other letters from maybe one science teacher and one arts, like humans teacher or something like that. You can choose your teachers based on the major that you're applying to, and also try to have a variety of opinions, in the sense not just two science teachers, and it may be a bit too you know similar point of views in the sense. um but of course, in terms of the recommendation letter, your teacher will ask you to tell them your achievements and your things like that. So do prepare that beforehand so that your teacher will have sufficient time to write the letter and then send it via Naviance. So yeah, so after you ask for the letter, you must go to Naviance and then request for a letter from the teacher in Naviance in the sense. And once they finish that and then they send the letter, things will be you should be good, I think. So you will be able to find it in Common App, or you can see it in Naviance. So but you're not allowed to see the recommendation letter, so don't ask them, oh, can I see the letter? No, don't do that. um Apart from that, so apart from the essay and the stuff that you need to fill up at the beginning, another thing that you may need to fill up in the common app is this thing called activities. So they will give you 10 slots, and you can insert how many activities as you can within those 10 slots. So what are activities? You can include your CCA, you can include your VIA, you can include pretty much anything you do. You can just include your weekly piano lessons. Just include things that matter the most in your life, I guess, apart from the A levels, obviously. And yeah, just put the things that the most meaningful things to you in your JC experience, or your secondary school as well. You can include that. um yeah, just fill in the information accordingly, and I recommend going to some of those prep scholar websites or those other college admission websites and then reading up on how to fill up that section. So please do that. I don't want to explain this too much in detail, because I'm not particularly good at doing it either. So of course, but there's one thing I would like to tell you is to not add too much of redundancy in your information, because you have a kind of a word limit in the activity section. So do add in only the required information in that thing. and there'll be one section where you can add additional information that wasn't in the application. So you can include stuff that you didn't have space for in the activity section or your other sections, or you can put in things that you just feel didn't fit in anywhere else. Or if you had any circumstances that weren't good for you, you can talk about that experience or anything else that that you feel like would work in that section. So yeah, I think once again I would recommend going to these websites and reading up more information on this. Yeah. Okay, so apart from all these sections, like once you're done with your entire application and you submit it, and you pay your $90 of admission fees. Well, yeah, it's a lot of money for each college. How expensive is this? Oh no. Yeah, like if you apply for 10 colleges, you're literally spending like what, almost $1,000 just applying to colleges. Imagine that. Oh well. Uh, yeah, so do select which colleges you definitely want to apply to before you even start. Don't just apply to them indiscriminately and then end up wasting a lot of money. Yeah. So after applying and submitting it, and they will send you their own portal which you can access for the decisions later on. But in the meantime, some of them may ask you to upload certain things. Like for example, Brown requires you to upload some kind of humans essay or something, or and a lot of the universities will ask you to put in that will ask you to go for this alumni interview, and this alumni interview is basically an interview by alumni who lives here. Don't worry, you won't have to go to Malaysia. It'll be done here in Singapore. There's enough alumni to actually do that. They're actually kind enough to volunteer for this. Don't worry about this too much. Just think of it like having a nice long chat with someone who's more than 10 years older than you. So yeah, that's basically how it works. You can also get some networking through these interviews. I guess you can, if you think they may be helpful in some other way, you can talk to them. But for the alumni interview, they will just ask you about yourself. So just recall what you've done and all that stuff. Like just recall the stuff you wrote in your individual essays for each school, because they'll ask you about why you want to do this major, and you would have reflected on your school life and things like that. So just remember all that stuff, remember your interests and things like that, and just go and tell that to your alumni as well. They just want to corroborate the information and also add in any information that wouldn't really fit into your application but would work in the interview. So yeah, don't worry too much about it. This is not a job interview. It is an alumni interview. So you don't need to dress up too professionally either. You can just dress up comfortably. If you want to wear a t-shirt, I mean, if you still want to be professional, you can. Not gonna hurt anyone, but the thing is, it won't be super professional. You'll just be having it in like Starbucks or something. So yeah. Okay, so I stopped too long already just for US. So now I will move on to the UK, and I'm pretty sure this is going to take way less time to talk about than the US one, because well, it's a lot less complicated, I guess. UCAS is a lot less complicated. I'm not going to kid you. So okay, so for UCAS, it's super simple. It's all in one single platform, which is the UCAS website. You don't have to worry about any other extra things. You don't really need, unless you're applying to Oxbridge or maybe Imperial. You won't even need to do interviews for that matter. So first, let me talk about UCAS in general, and maybe at the end I'll have an addendum for Oxbridge or the other top universities there. Okay. So in UCAS, what you need to take note of, the usual filling up the form. You need to fill out certain things, but it's a bit better than the Common App one. This is a bit less tiring to fill up. It's a lot less problematic. It's still your own education. They don't ask too much about your parents' education or your brother's education or whatever. They ask you about your own stuff. So just fill that up. school would probably give you more information on this, but once again, if you require some help, I can try to create a video specifically about that. um then the then once again you have an essay that you need to put in UCAS, but this essay is completely different from the Common App essay. Why? Because in UK they value academic excellence more so than all your other all-roundedness or whatever. So in your essay, you're supposed to talk about your academic interest, not about your travels or not about anything else that you like to talk about. So you must, for example, if you're applying to, let's say, this major in um, maybe chemistry, so you must talk about chemistry, because you must talk about why you're interested in chemistry, or what stuff you've done in chemistry, what Olympiads you've done, or anything like that. You can talk about your academic achievements, and at the end, maybe you can include your other interests very briefly, like, oh, I'm interested in this particular sports or something like that. You can just say that really briefly at the end. So it's very different from the Common App, and you require a lot less drafts to do it, because this doesn't require that much thinking to do. It doesn't require that much personal reflection. This is quite easier. It's a lot easier to do. You just need a good way of writing it. Just need to write it nicely. Okay, so just make sure that it's aligned with the major that you're thinking of. So it would be very helpful if for all your uni choices you have similar enough majors, or the exact same major, that is. It will make your essay a lot easier to write, in the sense. And once again, you would require your teacher's recommendation. I don't remember how many you require, but if you're applying to both, you would have gotten all your recommendations, so it shouldn't be an issue. You should have enough recommendations. And yeah, it's actually a lot easier to do compared to the Common App one, and you don't even need to do individual essays for your schools, unless maybe Oxbridge. I don't know. I don't actually know how Oxbridge one works. Yeah, it's a lot easier to do. And yeah, it's actually a lot cheaper also. For your 4 to 5 choices. You only need to pay like £24, and that is less than the amount of money you need to pay for like applying to one university in the US. So there you go. um yeah, so in this case, you require a lot less help, in the sense, to do this, and you don't need to go to a website like Prep Scholar to figure out what you're supposed to do. And yeah, as an addendum for Oxbridge, you may need to apply to them earlier. And oh yes, I forgot about the US. The US has got this thing called admission, like early. They have an early application as well, and the EA and ED. So if you choose, I believe if you choose early action versus early, I don't even remember now. But one of them allows you to apply to other unis. One of them allows you to apply to other unis in the early admissions as well. But the other one requires you to not choose any other uni in the early decision. Yeah, early decision. So like, for example, if you choose this uni A for your early decision and you get into it, you must definitely go there. You cannot choose to go anywhere else. So that is another thing you need to take note of in the US. But in UK, the only places that you need to apply early to are Oxbridge, basically Oxford and Cambridge. For them, you may need to do some tests, like the whatever cat, everything that ends with a CAT at the end, those tests. Yeah, either the medicine ones or the maths one or the physics one or whatever. They have some tests of their own. So just remember to do it at the time, although it will be close to A level time. So do take note of that when you're applying. Apart from that, some of the universities may ask you to come for interviews. Apart from that, there's nothing really much to worry about, in the sense, for UK. You don't have to put in as much effort to apply to UK as compared to US. So in other words, if you're actually applying to US already, you might as well apply to UK, in case you're interested to go overseas anyway. You can try doing the UK as well. It won't add too much of extra effort. But if you're applying to the UK and you're not interested in the US, then please don't, because the US is quite expensive to apply to, and it requires a lot of effort. So yeah, that's my final advice for you today. Yeah. And in the related blog episode, I will talk about my experiences in in applying overseas for both US and UK. Yeah, that's about it. I hope you found this video useful. If you want more details on the actual usage of Common App and UCAS, I will try to make a video on that. If you don't, then you can actually probably find some other video on that too. I think there are videos that explain how to use those. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary for me to give one. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please press the like button and subscribe. And with that, I would like to say thank you and bye.